All right, this is 11. I've been working through this mistake, listening myself and echoing myself, and that's fine. So, with that being said, we're gonna talk about something really important, and this leads to two things: dealing with frustration, dealing with bad moments. I don't know. Let's go to that cover to that topic, Tony. What are your thoughts on that scenario? As a goalkeeper, how do you deal on frustration? And as a coach, how do you deal with these moments of frustration?
Yeah, I think especially goalkeepers, we can't get frustrated. Just have to learn in the moment and kind of just move on. Of course, giving up a goal, you're gonna be frustrated because you've worked so hard, right, during the week in training to not allow goals in. But you just have to accept that some goals may go in, or life doesn't go your way sometimes. So you just have to push on, even though things may happen. Just have to make the best of each situation.
And how do you think? What are some ways? Like, what tips? What advices will you give to goalkeepers?
Is to just go with the flow. Just do your
Hmm.
best in the moment. Just try to just deal with it.
Yeah. Is there any, like with Austin, we spoke about triggers. So, for example, if you make a mistake, if you concede a goal or something like that, you could do like a physical trigger, like for example, accommodating your glove or doing something, fixing your shin guards, doing your boots, or any gesture. Is there any tip like that you have for goalkeepers in general, or everything comes down to just being really mindful about, okay, it's gonna be fine?
Yeah, like the physical triggers, like you were saying. For me, when I was playing before the game or before the second half started, I would just run and jump and touch the crossbar to kind of help me
Mhm.
reset in the game. I would try to focus on some words to kind of keep me focused. Tightening your gloves, like you said, or redoing your socks or shin guards. That may help you to kind of think about other things. But yeah, if you have a couple triggers that help you to forget about the mistake or forget about the frustration, do anything you can to help you move on.
Crucial. Now, for those goalkeeper coaches that are listening, when things doesn't go your way, either in the season, when you have a bad practice, when you're dealing with different goalkeeper scenarios or problems in that goalkeeper union, what are some ways that you say will be a best way to go through these challenges?
I like we were talking about like perspective. So seeing the bigger picture, making sure that you think about your goals, right? Either short term or long term. Think about how you can help yourself in the moment, and keeping that perspective or just thinking about the big picture can help you move on from situations.
Have you deal with anything like this in the past, or?
Like in terms of the season.
Hmm.
Yeah. So actually, this past fall, it was our first season at Upstate on the men's side. So we didn't win too many games.
Hmm.
We come from a winning culture at our last school where it was the standard to win. But recruiting players this year was challenging because uh, we only had 2 weeks in preseason to kind of learn our players and learn about them through the season. So it was challenging to help them through that because we were still new to the Division One
Hmm.
and NCAA. So just keeping that mentality of um, be 1% better, making sure that we're looking at the bigger picture, like I was mentioning earlier, and just focusing on our goals long term. So you're going to have growing pains in any new program or any new venture that you're taking on. So just being patient, I think that's the biggest thing. Being able to not take on everything, right? Or not making sure that every box is ticked. As long as you can improve from the next day and from yesterday, that's all you can do.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with the things that you're saying. I think, like as a coach, and I can put my example as well, like with the University of Miami. First of all, like hasn't been like this well recognized program in a sense, like it's always winning the ACC or stuff like that. I think the culture and everything has changed in the past years, and that's our goal with the university. So even if last year we didn't have like incredible season in the ACC, we still need to see like the whole picture, like you're saying. It has been a huge improvement of what the head coach Ken Mashur has done for the University of Miami. So something that I just want to point out that you kind of mentioned is being able to get or stick to that root of your philosophy or whatever you understand from that long term. So one bad day, one bad season, one bad game is not going to define the whole thing. If you are really rooted to your beliefs and personality.
Yeah, and I agree that your culture is the most important thing in your program, right? Without culture or without standards, you're gonna be negative. You're
Mhm.
going to not, have that growth mindset, right? I think it's important for us to understand where we are in our program's journey. I know it was our first season at our new schools, so just keeping that perspective of okay, we're year one or year two, we're not expected to win right away, and if we do turn some heads and make some success, great. But if not, just have to keep working, have to keep grinding, so that in year three or year four, you can see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
You're able to, you know, build the foundation and stack those bricks so that when once you get into year three or four, then you lay the foundation and you're kind of expect to win from within. But that leadership from the top down, from the coaching staff all the way down to the players, is crucial because with setting an example as a coaching staff or as adults, that's how you gain trust, right? That's how you gain those leadership skills from your captains, and they can be an extension of the coaching staff and help you build that culture and the program.
Well, it's incredible. It's incredible what you said because you literally opened such a important topic that I'm a big believer about it. In order for us to lead a successful program, we need to be kind of leaders. And just the example of the podcast, I mean, of course, this is not like thought about it, but like things didn't go well whenever we started like this thing over here, right? The mic was failing, all this stuff. There's mistakes. I'm using headphones because there is this mistake that when you go through it, and personally, like the way that we react represent us, and that represents your program as well. So if I get super emotional right now and I just close the computer and throw it away and stuff like that, my players are gonna behave that way. So me being able to just, or same as you, just navigate to a problem, no worries, we'll figure out, trust, believe, like you were mentioned. At the end of the day, focus on my purpose. I understand that okay, I want to have this episode with Tony. Let's stick through it. And second of all, like, well, we'll figure out. Even if things go wrong later, we'll figure out. And that's I think that's crucial that you mentioned that just having that belief and first of all and second of all being big leaders. Now with that being said, let's go a little bit more specific to a goalkeeper coaching aspect. What tips will you give a goalkeeper coach in order for them to actually be a good leader and actually to help and support the program the best?
Yeah, I think for goalkeeper coaches, we're already at a disadvantage with that perception of, oh, he or she is just a goalkeeper coach. They don't know about field positions. They don't know about anything else. But that's not true, right? For us, I think goalkeeper coaches um, do a lot, or maybe do the most in college programs, because the expectation is to help with administrative tasks and help with the itinerary and travel and food orders, and also helping plan sessions on the field. I think for us to, especially young coaches, to goalkeeper coaches to take on a lot of tasks, you should embrace that, right? You should embrace learning all the duties and the responsibilities on your sheet that you're given at the beginning of the year. So I think the more that we can learn, it's going to help us. become better coaches. And it's great seeing goalkeeper coaches become head coaches in
Mhm.
college and in the professional ranks. So, for us, I think, the more that we do, the more that helps us out. And that's helped me get a full-time job as a Division 1 coach, not just a goalkeeper coach, but an assistant coach. I've been a volunteer before. I've been a grad assistant. So having those roles has helped me become the coach who I am today. So yeah, you should embrace that role of doing more. So yeah, I think for us it's a superpower to be able to be patient and take on all these tasks and also be a goalkeeper coach.
And deal with the pressure as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that pressure is huge. If we get scored on, who
Hmm.
looks down the bench, right? They all look at us as goalkeeper coaches when we get scored on.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, you just made a mistake. Like, okay,
We
sure.
worked on it all week. It's just, sometimes you're not lucky. But like you said, take it on that pressure. A goalkeeper coach has to take on that pressure because, if we freak out or we kind of shrink, then the whole mentality of the team goes down. So having a thick skin and just being able to have that tough mindset of even if we do make a mistake, we just try to move on and correct it.
Yeah. And you mentioned, so it's your first year with a Division 1 program. And of course, I want to ask you, like, how has been that transition? But before we go there, what will be something that you wish, now that you have experienced Division 1, you have experienced all of these volunteer positions and years of coaching, what is something that you wish you knew early as a coach?
I think recruiting a higher level of potential student athlete at the Division 1 level. It's not the same as recruiting a Division 2 or Division 3 player. So I think just having a higher standard
Yeah.
in terms of going about the program. Everything is true about bigger, faster, stronger in Division 1. So that's been a big learning curve for us. But now we've kind of, as a staff, seen what it takes to be successful at the Division 1 level, and we're making the corrections to bring in higher quality players or bringing in players that are more ready for the Division 1 level. It's been tough, but it's been fun because we've been close in games. So if we can recruit a higher level player, then we should get more results in those games that we had previously lost.
Hmm.
Yeah, the margins are smaller. I'm sure you've seen a big difference from Conference USA to ACC.
Man, 100%. I love recruiting with Miami. Life is great. I sit there and then I look for the best one on the field, and then that's
Yeah,
the one that we're recruiting. That's what we're doing.
yeah,
Besides,
exactly.
before it was like, oh, she has potential, she might be able. Now it's like, okay, give me a best player, and
Yeah,
then we'll
exactly.
fight against all the big teams. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to be selective, right? You have to be more selective of who you choose because if you get it wrong, there goes your season, or there goes a win versus a loss or a draw. So, like I said, the margins are smaller. In Division 1, if you shoot three, you might make three of them. You go 3 for 3 on shots
Yeah.
and goal. At Division 2, if you hit 8 shots, you might score 2 or 3. So really, you get punished at the Division 1 level if you're not on during that day.
Yeah, that's really true. And we can talk a little bit about recruiting as well, a little bit later. So if a goalkeeper is listening to this, they're a little bit aware, and as well as we can go through a topic of, like, as a goalkeeper coach, what do we look on recruiting whenever we're seeing goalkeepers? But before we go that, so transition to Division 1, what have been like your more eye-opening moments or just learning besides just the recruiting aspect of it?
Yeah, I think you really have to game plan for every game. You can't just get away with a lot of teams playing the same formations, like a 1-4-3-3. The Division 1, each coach or each team is different, so you really have to be aware of how they're executing and how they're exploiting your team. So that's been the biggest learning curve. But I love watching film. I love that aspect of the game where you have to do research, and yeah, it's been challenging, but that really tells how good of a coach you are, right? How well you adjust in the game or at
Mhm.
halftime, how well you make those adjustments and not concede as much. So those small details really matter at this level.
Definitely. Um, Again, it's funny because me now coming to Miami as a goalkeeper coach, I joke that I have less work, but I have way more work that I used to have like in my last university where I was like assistant coach, like fully assistant coach. It was me and the head coach. And now even me as a four assistant, I will say it like that, but it's still goalkeeper coach. I'm lucky enough that I can focus on my thing. Like the coaching staff do a great job of letting me be really mindful of my goalkeeping aspect. But if you're a coach and listening, understand that even as a goalkeeper coach, you have a huge ton of responsibilities outside of goalkeeping. So I want to ask you, so you can tell us a little bit more about like how is your day to day basically as a goalkeeper coach in Upstate? Like how does it work? Like do you do film? You have practice? How do you plan the practice? Like how does that look being taught you?
Yeah, so in season in the fall, watching a lot of film on scouting the other team from
Mm-hmm.
game to game, and but also learning of what we have to improve. So maybe defensive transitions, going from offense to defense. How can we plug those gaps, or how can we keep our team, especially our center backs and our center mids, compact, and just working on those goals that we concede, basically. So in film, for goalkeepers, I'm really looking at how we can keep the team from succeeding in their best attributes or their
Mm-hmm.
best styles of play. How can we force them to make mistakes or keep the ball away from our goal? Also, helping with the back line, um, helping keeping the weak side compact or keeping it ball side and not having gaps where the other team can have through balls or scenarios like those. So as a coaching staff, when we watch film, we kind of help each other out
Mm-hmm.
so that we all can get on the same page. And I'm really lucky to be with a great coach and Michael Antonovich and Matt Dunn, our first assistant, where we all want to help each other and we allow each other to have a voice. So that's been a big part in the 4 years. I've been with those two coaches. And then when we're not watching film, it's okay, I'm in charge of housing. So I'm making sure that our student athletes are behaving in the dorms, in the apartments, making sure that, they're getting what they need. I also help with the food orders, making sure pregame, after the game meals for them, make sure it's on time, stuff like that. So uh, goalkeeping, coaching, and just coaching in general is probably 20% of the
Mm-hmm.
job. So really, the other stuff you're doing admin stuff, making sure that basically you're providing the best experience for your student athletes outside of football. So that's a big thing that we take pride in is we want to give our student athletes the best experience that we can for their 4 years. And then community service is also a big component of our culture. So
Mm-hmm.
really want to give back to our community wherever we are, and mainly just teach the young adults, the student athletes, that the community and volunteering is bigger than you are, right? So for us, taking pride in helping children and helping the young teenagers, that's a big part of who we want to be as
Super. That's awesome. That's great. There you go. You sell me in university now. So let's go to the recruiting part. What are you looking forward in? And let's focus just on the goalkeeper aspect. Like you go there, you're on the field. What are you looking on that goalkeeper? And not only that, but like before going to that field, like how people email you or all this stuff. Like all your recruiting tips right now is your moment.
yeah.
Sell it.
Yeah. So when goalkeepers send me email, I want to know, you know, their style of play. A couple components that I look at are your distribution. right? Your range of distribution, your short, your middle, your long game with your feet, making sure that you're accurate with your passes. For us, playing out of the back or building out of the back is very important. So, want to have a goalkeeper that's comfortable playing with his feet, so his foot skills are have to be on point. And then, in terms of shot stopping, if I see a video and there's a goalkeeper that parries every ball or has a big TV save every save and doesn't catch the ball, that's a big red flag for me. I want a
Yeah.
goalkeeper that's able to be secure. I want a goalkeeper that's be able to that we can trust mainly. If you're making a big save and it goes out for a corner kick, a lot of the time those set pieces, they're going to score. So want to make sure that if you're not catching the ball, you're hitting it out of pressure, and making sure that you're communicating, getting your defenders to step to the ball or out of the box. So in terms of emails, say you're playing in a showcase or a tournament, want to know what number you are. I want to make sure that you're saying what half you play in. That's a big part. If you split time with the other goalkeepers, if you have two or three goalkeepers on your club team, want to make sure that you're being specific as you can with your games. So I'm sure you understand this as we go recruiting, our time is very precious. Our time is very limited. So if you're not playing a half and I go watch your game, I'm going to go to another game where another goalkeeper has told me the right information. So on the recruiting trail, want to hear your voice. So communication or effective communication is a big part. What I tell my goalkeepers is if you can communicate effectively and efficiently, you shouldn't be have to make a lot of saves. If you can organize well and you can get your defenders to listen to you and block those shots, you kind of have to maybe come up big 1 to 5 times in a game. If the goalkeeper is making more than 10 or 15 saves, that tells you that you're not really communicating well or you're not communicating at all. Communication, distribution, and then having that trust is probably the biggest three things I look for.
Yeah. What about tips for a goalkeeper coach going and watching players? So honestly, recruit like we as we're recruiting our 28s. Like we have our list, we're creating our list for us to contact them on June or July, whatever it is. Yeah, you make that question like, okay, these players are young. What I'm supposed to be looking for? What tips will you give a goalkeeper coach to be mindful about when watching a player?
Yeah, I think especially for the 28s and 29s, can you start being a leader on the field? Can you start catching our attention when we walk by your field, right? A goalkeeper that's commanding, right? Not just loud, but a goalkeeper that's commanding and using goalkeeper specific terminology and verbiage that catches my ear, and I may stay and watch more of that game, even though they're younger. I want to keep track of that goalkeeper so that in 2 years' time, I know that okay, this 29 does well organizing. He's already kind of ahead of the curve. So biggest thing, goalkeepers that are owning your box. That's rare these days to see where a goalkeeper is commanding their box on corner kicks or flighted balls. That's kind of something that's kind of lacking these days. So I think a goalkeeper that just showcases well. So a lot of these times these days, goalkeepers aren't doing a lot in the games, right? So you're having to watch maybe 3 4 games. So take your opportunity. Even though you're young, try to bring your best, right? Showcase your best so that a goalkeeper coach can keep track of you.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something really crucial, and I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, it's really important. As a goalkeeper, you might not have as much as opportunities to bright on the game, like you were saying. You might not have as much action. So for me, Juan Seguiel is really important for you to watch practice as well. So if you're
Yeah,
sending all those emails or those texts, make sure you're also including practice sessions and stuff like that.
yeah. No, and to kind of expand on that, I do like to watch goalkeeper training videos.
Yeah, I love to judge other coaches. That's the reality. No, I'm just kidding.
Steal
Well,
steal some tips.
I'm not kidding. I'm
Steal
not
some
kidding,
tips.
Timmy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think if you send unedited goalkeeper training where you are giving some goals up, I want to see how you respond in training or in games. That's why we ask for full game footage, right? How do you respond after giving up a goal? How do you respond after giving up, an easy easy save, or if you mess up a back pass? Are you willing to respond positively and shake it off, or is your head down? Are you going to dwell and let more mistakes happen? So yeah, goalkeeper training footage that can show me how you do, on a daily basis, and what you're kind of expecting, right, from that goalkeeper if you get to work with them in the future.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And personally, for those people that are like, "Oh, I don't have videos, whatever," I don't know what the heck you're doing. Like at this point, 2026, you should be recording yourself. You should be able to see yourself practicing. So
Exactly.
it's crucial. Like you said, if you can say a whole practice, that would be amazing, because there is a lot of things that we like to evaluate. How engaged are you when you're not the one on goal? How do you stand up? How do you move on the
Yeah.
field? How do you ask for the ball? All the things, not only like flying and making this, like Tony was saying, these TV saves that in reality could have been avoided if you have a step twice or stuff like that. So
I like that you mentioned that when you're not playing, right? So in your games, if you're on the sideline and you're not playing, are you being a good teammate? Are you cheering on and encouraging your other goalkeeper that's in goal, or your teammates on the field? Because that's a big part of culture, right? Team bonding. Are you willing to be a leader and say, okay, I'm not in, but I'm going to be the best teammate, or I'm going to be the best cheerer I can on the sideline? And that's a big part of what we look for in terms of culture.
yeah, 100%. And with all of that, you brought different topics that I also want to talk about. So at the beginning of the podcast, if the thing actually record and everything was working, you were mentioning how you were in goal because you were the little guy and you were the youngest, and they put you in goal. And a lot of things has changed from I don't know 1999 to 2026, where like before it was the same topic, like oh the fat guy will go to a goal. Nowadays the more athletic guy. So let's talk about like those old-fashioned terminologies that are coming to a modern goalkeeper. With that being said, like the first question that I would love to ask you is like, what is that thing that give you like that little ick of nowadays of like now everybody's so passionate about the modern goalkeeper or whatever. Like, what are the things that give you like, all right, we need to stop this. What's going on?
I know. I put it on my story, and you had commented. Yeah. So to be fair, that the technique of making a diving save, it has improved over the years. I know some goalkeepers kind of use the two hands and then kind of go like this afterwards, right after a save, or like you mentioned, which I'm glad you mentioned, you kind of roll the ball back with your top hand. So I mean, whatever is effective for you, whatever works for you. If you cannot concede doing the modern day techniques and you're keeping the balls out, fair play to you, because a lot of the data and a lot of the percentages are going towards the modern day saves, like the X save. I know that's a
Mhm.
big component now where Emi Martinez made that during the World Cup final and was able to win the trophy. So, like I said, whatever is effective for you, it works. I like to focus on fundamentals and proper technique. But in the game, of course, you're not going to be able to work on those. You're not able to catch the ball most of the time because shots are different these days with the ball too. So yeah, in terms of the modern day, um, whatever works for you, great. But those fads or those trends that people see on TikTok or Instagram, make sure it works for you, right? Make sure that if you're executing those saves or those techniques, make sure you're understanding why you're doing those techniques to understand the how and the whys rather than just saying, I've seen Allison do it, I'm going to try it out kind of deal.
Yeah. Um, with that being said, now let's go to the goalkeeper coach perspective. So, old-fashioned goalkeeper coach training versus the modern goalkeeper coach training. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I come from the old school, kind of more South American style, where you're doing more acrobatics and more flexibility drills, where you're doing somersaults or you're doing flips in training. So really, it depends on what works for you, right? So there are some modern day things or techniques that work, and then there may be some old school techniques that don't work nowadays. But I think if you're an old school goalkeeper coach, you can't get stuck in the past, right? You
Hmm.
can't be stubborn and say, well, this has always worked. The new ways or the new knowledge can also work too. So you have to adjust with the times. So,
Hmm.
take what works for you, but kind of throw out which doesn't. So I
Yeah.
think if we can just adjust and keep up with the modern techniques or keep up with the modern times, that's the best way to approach it.
Yeah. All right, let's put the scenario. And I know if a goalkeeper coach is listening to this, probably has faced this challenge. So you come to practice, and now since everybody's obsessed with the modern goalkeeper, not but with the realistic scenario practice, I'm like you. I'm old-fashioned as well. Like I do believe there is room for everything, if there is a purpose in some sense. Like I'm gonna bring my ropes. Yes, I'm gonna make you dive through the ropes. Yes, if I get crazy and I want you to flip and jump and do a burpee and all of this, I'm gonna do it because I believe there is a purpose behind it. And in my book, in my template, in my everything, there is back to what we were speaking at the beginning. It's going back to my roots, to my philosophy of what a goalkeeper it is. So there is room for this. But this goalkeeper comes and is like, "This is not game realistic." How do you deal with that?
I would say, show me how it's not game realistic. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think the film or video doesn't lie. So if you can find examples of where it doesn't work, great.
Mm-hmm.
Show me, and I'll adjust, and I'll say, yeah, I was wrong or whatever. But yeah, so
So with that order of D, if I tell you I have never seen a goalkeeper do a flip, then flips are out of practice. Are they, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it depends on each goalkeeper coach. I think if you're doing flips, which I've done during spring, the early part of spring, just to get that coordination down with your body and just understanding how your body moves and stuff like that. Like you said, there is a time and place for things. So if we're doing flips, that's kind of what we've been used to, right? That's what we were taught. So in the game, you may not do a flip, but it's going to help you in some way in your
Hmm.
goalkeeper development.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I'm gonna say this out. I don't know what are your thoughts on this. I don't know how punished I'm gonna get for saying this out. But I think the new modern goalkeeper mentality has also brought this modern entitlement on the goalkeepers. In a sense of like now they get to judge and I'm not saying it's wrong because at the end you grow as a coach, but I think we're losing that essence of having fun with the position. Like even the flips and stuff like that, it's fun. It's a moment of like, okay, let's do fun, let's have fun, let's do whatever. And I think more people are wanting to do less and going back to that realistic scenario, and they want to control the whole thing. And that
Yeah.
goes back to, oh, we're putting so much stress on the goalkeepers now. They need to be great with the passing, they need to be great at communication, they need to understand the tactics, they need to, and now they think they have all this huge entitlement. I don't know, that's what came to my mind, so I needed to say it. I don't know what are your thoughts. I might get punished, I don't know, but
um, yeah, I think goalkeeping is tough, right? And it should be a fun position. At the end of the day, football is a game, right? So want to keep it as fun as possible. Yeah, you want to work on game realistic stuff, but just falling in love with the position, right? I think if you can fail a lot and give up goals, that helps you, right? So just bouncing back and having that resiliency to want to come back each day to put on the gloves.
mm-hmm.
I think that's enough. Now, as you get older into more professional or more serious environments, yeah, of course it's gonna get more pressure or more stressful. But if you're a teenager or a young, you should just have fun with it. And you should be having different repetitions.
Yeah.
And not every little repetition needs to be critiqued or needs to say, do this, do that, do this. Even though I do say it to help the goalkeeper fix their or correct their form in the moment. But like I said, if you're keeping the ball out of the net, that should be enough.
Yeah. And I think you also mentioned really crucial, the power of controlling your body. And again, back to the beginning of the conversation, principle for me is a goalkeeper that is coordinated, a goalkeeper that can control the body. And all those things help you in a huge way of knowing where you are, knowing where the field at. Like even a flip, okay, you might not do a flip, but now you need to get up and reposition. You need to understand what the heck is the middle of the goal. All those things for me add up, if I'm honest with you. And now if we go back to the conversation of like, oh, realistic scenarios, all right, then we're not having goalkeeper practice because we need 11 players, we need 5v5, and they will complain for not having goalkeeper practice, but then they are complaining about the realistic scenarios. So tell me what is a realistic scenario, right? If
Exactly.
you're bringing players. So that's me. Thank you for being my psychologist today.
Yeah, likewise. Same thing. I like how you mentioned about the controlled environment, right? In the game, you can only control so much, right? You can control the beginning of a scenario, but there's tons of outcomes, right? There's tons of possibilities that could happen.
Hmm.
So you have to be ready for everything. So I really agree with you on the coordination part of it. You might make a save and you might get disoriented in goal, or you might get hit off a corner kick if someone's blocking you, and you have to get back up and reposition or reorientate yourself. So yeah, I really believe in the coordination part of it, and the more balanced you are in goal, the more successful you'll be.
So, as a goalkeeper coach, Tony, for you, what is the proper way of developing a goalkeeper?
I think being patient with your development, because there's so many areas of goalkeeping, right? You can't learn everything in one day, 1 week, 1 year. You really have to separate different parts of goalkeeping. So handling or shot stopping,
Hmm.
that a big part of it should be understanding when to catch or when to parry, right? I think understanding that part of it will help goalkeepers with their decision making. I think cutbacks and 1v1s are one of the most challenging parts of goalkeeping,
Hmm.
and even professionals have trouble with it, right? So, really, at any age, you want to make sure that you work on your fundamentals, work on your basics. The great players work on the basics every day, right? So, want to make sure that you do the ordinary stuff well. I think Bruce Lee said, paraphrasing, but he practices one punch 1,000 times. He doesn't practice 1,000 punches one time, kind of
Hmm.
deal. So you want to make sure that you understand each scenario, when to do a technique. But yeah, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're progressing in the right direction. So I think just getting 1% better each day, and just making sure that you accomplish your goal,
Yeah.
short term, long term goals. That's the big part of it. So I think writing down your goals is important, because
Hmm.
if you just say, I want to work on 1v1s and be good at it, you have to be more specific. You kind of have to break it down. And when you break it down, it could take a couple weeks, right? Or a couple sessions to start building on that momentum. So at an early age, I think just getting a lot of shots on you, just understanding different scenarios, just seeing a lot of repetitions, good or bad, will help you. And then as you get older, then you can start kind of refining or chiseling your techniques and all that stuff. So
As a again, as a goalkeeper coach, how can you help that goalkeeper to grow? So, if you're a goalkeeper coach and you're listening, what will you tell them?
I think goalkeeper coaches should be supportive of your goalkeeper. As a goalkeeper coach, you should be understanding why they're getting scored on, or why they're not succeeding, because you are meant to help them through those difficult times and become successful. or help them solve problems or scenarios, right? So I think that's the biggest difference between goalkeeper coaches and goalkeeper trainers. It's very different. If you're a goalkeeper trainer, you're just trying to, make them, help them make the big save, or kind of help you kind of boost your Instagram following.
By the way, follow me on Instagram followers, please. Thank you. Keep going, Tony.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, as a coach, you should be understanding the position, right? You should be understanding the whys and how to make them better. Not just, oh, if you just do this technique, then you're making that incredible save. So
Well, and if I'm being honest, again, for people that are listening, for coaches, if you really want to develop a goalkeeper, I really invite you to don't talk, make questions, ask, let them answer their own questions. You just guide them on a way of like you will end up, they will end up getting the answer, but you just need to guide them. This is a perfect example. So we're talking about crosses. This goalkeeper came to me and they asked me, I'm not gonna say he or she, whatever. They asked me, and it was like, "Oh, do I go with the right foot or with the left foot?" And I could easily, in 1 second, tell her left foot. But guess what? Next week, she will ask the same question to another goalkeeper coach. So, what do you do in that case? You start guiding them to questions, basically. So, you ask her, okay, what happens if you bring that right foot? And then she will explain you whatever. Okay, what happens if you bring that left foot? And then she will explain you. And then you are like, okay, where are these players coming from? Where is the ball coming from? What's happening with these players? Are they able to contact the ball? If they are you defending yourself? No, yes, whatever. At the end of the day, she was like, dang, I messed up. But at the end of the day, the person was like, that makes sense. And that's it. Done.
exactly. No, I agree. And they have to learn through mistakes, right? They have to learn on the field because we're not playing for them, right? We have to make sure that, like you said, we guide them, but they have to figure out or solve the problems themselves.
Hmm.
So it's hard, especially in youth coaching, right? It's tough. You might see a situation where the goalie might get scored on, but you have to trust that the goalkeeper is going to make the right decision or put themselves in a good position to make the save. And if it doesn't happen, that just gives you something to work on and for them to kind of get that light bulb moment later on.
And again, I think you mentioned something really important. We're there to assist, to help them develop, not just to really kick them balls and then train them and make them fly and all of that.
Yeah.
Like we need to be mindful about guiding them through the journey that they actually want to go through it as well.
No,
But of course, again, I think the key and the most important aspect is being really good at making questions. And if I want to guide my player on I want her to get better on distribution. How can I formulate my questions for her to realize that she needs to get better on distribution? Besides me just telling her like, oh, you need to get better in distribution. It's me cutting the videos, putting all these hours for her to realize, Jesus, I need to get better in distribution. Done it one hour. Like, I guess if you say so, but you need to be as a goalkeeper coach mindful about those small details.
no, I love that. I love that.
What will you consider will be like one of your toughest challenges lately as a coach?
I think not playing in college
Hmm.
at this level, I've had to earn the trust of goalkeepers a little bit more. It's been tough in the past because you're trying to tell them what to do or help them out, guide them. They look up your bio and they saw that you didn't play in college, and it's like, well, what does this guy know, kind of deal. So
Hmm.
I think having the experience of ODP and coaching club for a long time has helped me to a degree where I've helped produce or helped worked with high quality Division 1 goalkeepers on the men's and women's side. So that has always given me confidence. I think just going through those growing pains and experiencing a college season has helped me
Hmm.
lately in terms of um, earning their trust. I think if you can be creative in the ways that you get through to these players or goalkeepers, then it's like he actually knows what he's talking about, or I can understand how he sees this, and I always relate it back to the film. and
Yeah,
try to
film.
help them see what I'm seeing.
Film is crazy. So you went to like, okay, that was really pretty what you've mentioned about like, okay, we need to gain the trust of this person. So for whoever, for coaches that are listening, and of course if you are like, I don't know how long we're in, 50 minutes in this conversation, I can bet you really want to get better at this, and you really love this, or you just really like Tony, whatever. But
I don't think-
what, where, how can you improve? How can you learn as a coach? How can you build that resume for players to trust you? For, yeah, basically that's my question.
Yeah, I think self-evaluating or self-reflecting on who you are as a coach, reflecting on your sessions or games, stuff like that. I think if you can, look back on your sessions or look back on how you've improved goalkeepers and how you need to grow, that all helps you. So I think writing down notes after a session or after a game of giving your own feedback or rating yourself, that's a quick little way of doing it. You don't have to write a big detailed evaluation of yourself, but if you have a little note card and just write down this worked today or it didn't work so well, it didn't go as well as I planned, what improvements can I make?
Hmm.
I think if we're more self critical of ourselves, that's going to help you in the long run. And that helps you keep you honest, right? Helps you keep you grounded. You might say, "Oh, this was the best session ever," blah blah blah, and then you kind of do it forever. But maybe some goalkeepers don't like it, or you don't want to get their feedback. So I think if you're open and honest with yourself and with your goalkeepers and create a dialogue and maybe have feedback or meetings from them,
Hmm.
that's going to help you become a better coach.
100%. The feedback is crucial. I think you cannot run out way of it, personally. That's the only way of growth. I have had the experience with other goalkeepers, even with my goalkeepers here at U. We have meetings, we speak, they are able, like, we, as a coach, you need to create that trust where they will be able to tell you, yeah, when this sucked or whatever, but don't take it personally. And like, we're here to work together. And I told the same thing to my goalkeepers. I'm like, listen, you girls want to be professional. I want to be professional. I want to coach big. I want to go somewhere really big, and that's the reality of it. And for me to do this, this environment needs to be the most professional thing ever. And I show up every single day with that mentality of like, my IDPs are full, my goalkeeper practice are planned, all my catapult records is there. Like, I have track of all this. I'm getting like stats, numbers, and all of that is because of that. I think that communication, and I own them this environment as well. So that's crucial.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, well, 50 minutes in, 53 minutes in, probably a little bit longer, I think, because the recording thing stopped working, work, whatever. I don't want to waste more of your time, TV. That has been
I can
amazing for
talk all day.
you. I still have one. Okay, two more questions. First of all, let's say hypothetical case. Everything about Tony has been erased on this war. No goalkeeper education. You get to tell three things to a goalkeeper or a goalkeeper coach or just a person in life. What tips will you give them, or what message will you like to be remembered in some sense? Like, what will be those three things that you will give?
Just advice to goalkeepers and
Whatever you said, everything. So Tony is about to die, hopefully not, let's say it, but you're in that bed, everything is erasing and nothing exists about Tony, no Instagram, no nothing. You get to get three advices, three lessons, three whatever, for goalkeepers, for life, for Tony 20 years ago, for Juan Sayel right now, anything. You have to leave three words or three messages, basically. What would you say?
I'd say, go for those opportunities. Don't hold back. I think if you're waiting for the right opportunity, it's the one in front of you is going to pass you by. So, start now, say yes. You never know where life takes you. So, going through that door, take that step, take that leap of faith. It could be the best decision that you make, and it could lead to more doors opening for you. So, go for everything that you want, as long as you work hard. Second piece of advice, have fun. Have fun in life, have fun in goalkeeping, with your friends, soccer. life's too short, right? Want to make the most of every day, make the most of every moment. So be present. The more you dwell on the past or look to the future, the less you enjoy what's right in front of you, right? So last piece of advice is, especially for goalkeeper coaches, is soak in as much information as you can. Be a
Mhm.
sponge. Make sure that you're asking questions, thought provoking questions, making
Mhm.
sure that be patient with your journey, be proud of where you came from, but be confident in your abilities. So yeah, just overall, just reach for your dreams.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. Before I make the last question, I again wanted to acknowledge you. Not only because of the fact that you had all this patience to deal with me with the mic and all this stuff, but also I don't know if this was in the recording, but at the beginning of the recording, I said like whenever we're in a group or in a chat or I'm in Instagram or whatever, Tony always shows up. So that shows how people like you and how well of good with relationships we are. So I really appreciate you because again, like even we haven't get to meet that often, and we just met what like 7 months ago. I really appreciate you because I feel like you're somebody really special in my life. So even though we have only met for a couple of minutes, you're always like opening of like, oh, what can I help? Let's do this, and you see my messages and you're like, nice, and you react and all the little things. I think those moments are really pretty. So thank you. I want to acknowledge you
Of
for
course.
that.
And I thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And likewise, you're you're all over the place. You do a lot of quality content. You want to be everywhere. You're very passionate. I love that about you, and uh, you just want to help the goalkeeper position in general. So I'm really proud of you, and just you're a big inspiration also. Where it's like, damn, Juan's doing everything, and that keeps me going. That
Thank you.
wants me to do a lot, and I'm sure you share the same view of we have to help as many goalkeepers or players as we can, and that's my purpose of my legacy is I want to help as many people as I can in the positive way, so that they can help spread the joy and just give back and pay it forward. So
That's
yeah,
great. Thank
anytime
you.
I see you or anytime I see your content, I definitely want to support you any way I
Thank you,
can.
Tony. Thank you. I need to stop acknowledging people because after they send a really pretty message and I want to cry. So I need to stop doing that. I should just need to be okay. And
No,
thank you.
no, no. You
No,
deserve it.
thank you. All right, last question. This can break our friendship. Best goalkeeper currently. I know in the past. I'm pretty sure you say Iker Casillas in the past or Buffon, one either or.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but nowadays, 2026, I was gonna say 25, 26, best goalkeeper. I'm big wise because I can end the call right now.
I know, and that's tough because there's so many good ones. I don't know. It's tough, man. I mean, Donnarumma is really good, big presence, commanding. But I don't know. Courtois has always been good the last 10 years. Personally, I like Jan Oblak from Atletico. He's always been consistent, but it's just tough.
I need
It,
one answer, Tony. What answer?
ah,
You're selling me here a political speech. You
dude,
get a full right in upstate. Who are you bringing? Five, four, three,
I
two,
say
one.
Donnarumma. Donnarumma.
All right, there we go. Perfect. Awesome. Donnarumma is a great goalkeeper, not gonna lie. He needs to
Yeah,
improve with the passing, but he's amazing. And again,
exactly.
well,
I agree.
great goalkeeper. I don't want to extend because we'll end up talking like for 2 hours if I go if I open that.
With us, yeah, we could talk forever.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Tony. Thank you. Thank you for again for doing a second episode. If you haven't heard the first episode, go ahead. Tony talks a little bit more about his life and all of this. Today was a little bit more about goalkeeping and for goalkeeper coaches. So
Yeah.
if you have any question, where can people find you, Tony?
They could find me on Instagram, TV_GK coach. That's or my goalkeeper academy is Take Flight GK. Yeah, you can find me there.
Get your visa first.
I got
That's
my
important.
passport. So
All right,
great.
get your passport and take a flight, guys. All right,
Awesome.
thank you, Tony.
All right. See you, bro. Take care.
Bye.